I'm back once again. Welcome back to you as well, my dear elegant ladies. Today I have a video for you where we're going to talk about things you should never ask someone, things that are very inappropriate, things that are pretty much rude to tell somebody. We are going to cover the ones that I felt was the most important so that you don't make any of these mistakes. So for those of you who are new, my name is Anna, and the purpose of my channel is to educate women about elegance and prepare them for success in high society. I also have an online program where I teach women all these necessary skills. So if you're interested in that, make sure to visit schoolofaffluence.com. And also, if you still haven't followed me on Instagram, I believe now is the time. So let's dig into these horrible things that I personally don't understand how people don't even think about this. Well, okay, I've also made a few of these mistakes. But you know what, ladies? We live and learn. I have sometimes said the most strangest things to people when such incredible awkward silence have erupted, and that's how you learn. So at least I'm happy that's coming to use. So inappropriate to ask somebody, how old are you? It doesn't matter if you're asking a man this question, it doesn't matter if you're asking a woman this question and you are a woman yourself. Anybody who's asking anyone how old they are, well, I think actually asking a child is fine. But everybody else is off limits. If the person is over the age of 18, do not ask them their age, because some people have their reasons not wanting to disclose their age, but it can also create this awkwardness. Even with men, believe it or not, but even many men actually feel like they don't want to discuss their age, even though for men, usually, age is not as sensitive as it is for a woman, so. Okay, number 2, and we're diving straight into the hardcore ones. Have you gained weight? What do you mean? I mean, who wants to hear that they look fat, basically, or they have gained weight? I've heard this been said to myself, I've heard this been said to other people. It's a horrible thing because nobody wants to, unless you very actively want to gain weight, but majority of us, we don't like gaining weight. And somebody pointing out that maybe we look a little bit chubbier than we did before, like, do you think that's going to make my day any better? And I just don't understand how people can not think about that, how that's going to make you feel. Maybe some people just don't have the capacity or the understanding to think one step ahead. This is definitely an off limits. Never point out weight gain to anybody. Speaking of weight gain, number 3, are you pregnant? What? What if I'm not? And if I am, I will tell you, right? So let's clear this one out first. I understand that some women, they are very pregnant and pregnancy is a beautiful thing and you want to talk about it, right? But first of all, what if the person is not pregnant? What if the person is just overweight? How are you going to deal with that awkwardness? And how are you going to make that person feel? I mean, that's like one step worse than have you gained weight question. The fact that you are so overweight that you look pregnant, I mean, nobody wants to hear that. So that's one. Number 2, okay, they might be pregnant, but what if they don't want to talk about it? I don't know. There are people who are maybe superstitious or who just don't want to be discussing their pregnancy, perhaps with somebody they don't know well. I don't know. People are very different. For that reason, you have to let people bring things up themselves if they want to talk about it. Like recently I met a woman who she was probably 8 months pregnant. I did not ask her if she's pregnant because it was up to her or up to her partner to mention that so that we can start talking about it. Not me starting that conversation, asking questions, is it a boy or a girl, is it this or that? No, that's, it can be private. It can be things that people don't want to discuss. Number 4. Why are you still single? Okay, actually let's go into number 5 at the same time. When are you getting married? When are you having kids? Why are you still single? All these stupid questions. I cannot stand any of these questions. So when I used to be single, I kept getting the question all the time, why I was single. When I have a partner, I keep getting the question all the time, when are we having kids? When are we getting married? Why do people think that this is something that is normal or appropriate to ask? And this is something that is extremely common. It's incredible, whether it's online from strangers or it is in person or it's family or it's friends, it can be anybody. People are just pushing these questions, these agendas, and I think it's so incredibly unfair. I think we all know exactly what I'm talking about, because this is like one of the weirdest human behaviors out there, I would say. We deeply want to know, we deeply want to have access to this intimate information. I mean, what if, like, if I was single and I was single for a long time, what if my reasons were because I had some psychological issues that are very private? That means that I cannot trust men and for that reason have a hard time committing. The person asking me, is this the answer you want to get? Or if I'm, for instance, with a partner and you're wondering why we don't have kids yet, what if I cannot have children and I'm devastated about it and I cry myself to sleep every day? What if that was the reality and you keep pushing your agenda? It is so incredibly unfair, and I think it's a really good reminder for everybody out there. Really be careful with what type of questions you ask, because you never know what keeps somebody awake at night. What can be something very burdensome for some. You really have to be careful. So what do you think about that ... controversial subject? Yeah, a lot of people want to start discussing with you perhaps something related to politics, something that is very controversial, and this is not something that you just ask somebody and put them in the spotlight. I've definitely also been in situations where people, and sometimes men, tend to have this bad manner when they want to hear your comments about, I don't know, some politics of some reason, because I guess they just want to test your intelligence, but they're asking about something very controversial where you're starting to wonder, okay, there is really no good way out of this question besides rejecting the person who asked it, because I personally refuse to go down that route, and I think it's extremely ungracious of people to put somebody in that position, and I usually just decline. But we will talk about ways how to get out of conversations like this, but in a different video. Number 7. Oh, how much did that cost? Was it expensive? This is something that I think is okay to speak between close friends, but definitely not if you're not a close friend. If you are somebody who is acquaintances with somebody, then you don't ask about how much things cost. You don't talk about money in general. Like, you wouldn't speak about, so how much do you earn? How much money does your partner have? How much money does your parents have? Like, you don't speak about this, right? At least in most cultures. I don't think any culture allows any form of talk about money. It's just too taboo, so you have to stay away from that subject. Like, if you really want to know the cost of something, just go to the bathroom, take out your phone and Google it. That is a much more elegant approach in life. Do what you have to do, but keep it behind closed doors. Okay, this is a funny one. Are those real? And it can be a diamond, a jewelry, it can be a designer bag, it can be your hair color, it can be your breasts. I mean, people have the nerve to ask if something is real. I don't know. What do you think about that? Isn't that a little bit crazy? First of all, if it was fake, would you ever admit it? I mean, who would openly say, yes, my diamond is fake, or my hair color, well, okay, hair color is maybe a little bit different. I mean, I can honestly say that I do highlights. I don't think it's a big deal, but I do understand, some people keeping hair color very private. It's a very big deal for some. And same goes perhaps if they had surgery. Some people are very sensitive with this, and you just have to accept it. I would say that I'm somebody who is quite open, but obviously I would never be able to have the job that I have and being on YouTube and talking about controversial things if I wasn't open. But you have to understand that the majority of people, they are not open at all. They're actually quite reserved, I would say. So you just have to be, don't ask if something is real. Plus, it makes you look stupid. I mean, is it real? No, you can't say that. No, ladies. Anybody who is an emotional eater will definitely recognize themselves in this one. Are you going to eat all of that? I've definitely heard it because I've had my share of emotional eating issues, but this is really frustrating, especially if you do have some form of, I don't know, if you have an eating disorder, if you're an emotional eater, maybe you're dieting. And today is your cheat day, and maybe you feel a little bit bad about it, and somebody has to point out that you're eating a lot. Now, one thing is for sure though, I would say elegant women, they don't eat massive big portions. So it's good to maybe not go down that route, but regardless of what you decide, how much you decide to eat one day, nobody should ever ask you about why you're eating so much or point it out. It's extremely, extremely rude, and I just don't think anybody would feel good after such comments. Okay, we have the last two ones. Ladies, number 10. So where did you study? What university or college did you go to? Again, sensitive subject. There's a lot of people who did not have the opportunity to go to university or college. It could be because of financial reasons, it could be for other reasons. And asking somebody where they studied, what school they went to, if they have a degree and, and all of that, it can really be the wrong question to ask. Now, if you're asking somebody who was educated in the finest schools and did loads of studying that they're very proud of, then yes, okay, this question can go by quite smoothly. But you have to really take into account that not everyone has had that opportunity. Not everybody did that journey. Now, lastly, number 11. Do you believe in God? What religion are you? Here we go. Religion, politics, finances, what else? Education, what's your age? I mean, all of this really belong to the same category of group. You just don't ask these questions. It's too sensitive, especially religion. It is such a private, personal thing. Some people are not religious and they maybe feel judged for it. Some people are very religious and maybe they feel judged for it as well, because there's a lot of religion might be just some hoo-hoo ha-ha, and some people are just crazy if they have a religion. Whilst if you don't have a religion, you might be like this soulless stereotype kind of. So what do you believe in then? So this is such a sensitive subject. And I mean, there will be a lot of people who would be proud saying that they're this, they're that, but you cannot ask somebody, let them bring it up. It's really important. So let people do the talking. They will share the information that they want you to know. If they haven't shared it with you, maybe they don't want you to know, or maybe they're just fed up talking about it. So always keep these things in mind. Always respect people. There are boundaries after all. Now, I do have another video called Things You Should Never Say to Rich People. Make sure to watch it now after this video. Now, I will see you there.